In a bustling corporate office, Julia was a dedicated employee working under the management of Mark, a charismatic yet manipulative boss. At first, Julia admired Mark's confidence and vision, believing he genuinely cared about her professional growth. However, as time went on, she began to notice his controlling behavior. Mark would often take credit for her ideas in meetings, praising her only in private, where his compliments felt empty. When Julia sought feedback on her projects, Mark would dismiss her efforts, leading her to question her skills and worth. His manipulation left her feeling insecure and dependent on his approval, creating a toxic work environment. Julia became anxious, often working late to meet Mark's unrealistic expectations, which began to affect her mental health. Eventually, Julia's once bright spirit dimmed, and she found herself trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and stress, unsure of her future. In another part of town, Alex was deeply in love with Mia, a seemingly charming woman who turned out to be emotionally manipulative. At first, their relationship felt exhilarating. Mia was affectionate and attentive, capturing Alex's heart completely. However, her behavior soon shifted. Mia would play mind games, often using guilt to control Alex's actions. When he spent time with friends or pursued hobbies, she would sulk, making him feel responsible for her happiness. Alex found himself constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to upset her. His friends began to notice the change in him. He became withdrawn and anxious, prioritizing Mia's needs over his own. As time passed, the emotional toll became overwhelming. Alex lost sight of who he was, feeling trapped in a cycle of guilt and obligation. Eventually, he realized the damaging effects of Mia's manipulation, understanding that he needed to break free to reclaim his self-worth and happiness. Both Julia and Alex's stories reveal the profound impact of manipulation, showcasing how it can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and emotional distress in those who are victimized. Welcome, my friends from everywhere. I am Christopher, talking to you from the Book Street channel. Today we will discuss an important topic that has a significant negative impact on its victims. We will reveal the psychological techniques that fraudsters and manipulators use to exploit and control others, such as emotional manipulation, convincing the victim to do what they want, and negatively influencing decision-making. After this video, you will be able to recognize these misleading behaviors and enhance your self-awareness in order to avoid falling victim to exploitation. I will also provide you with practical tips for self-defense and setting clear boundaries when dealing with manipulators, allowing you to protect yourself and enhance your healthy relationships. So be with us. Idea number 1: Identifying manipulative people, how to recognize them easily. Manipulative individuals have a unique set of skills they use to control, deceive, and exploit others. These tactics are often subtle, hidden beneath the surface of normal conversation or behavior, making it difficult for people to recognize manipulation as it occurs. However, by learning the signs of manipulation and understanding how these individuals operate, you can uncover their intentions and protect yourself from their influence. This essay will explore various techniques manipulators use and provide insight into recognizing them with ease. 1. Emotional manipulation, exploiting your feelings. One of the clearest signs of manipulation is the exploitation of emotions. Manipulators are highly skilled at using guilt, fear, pity, or love to control the behavior of others. They know how to pull on your heartstrings, twisting your emotions to serve their purpose. This technique is often subtle, so the manipulated person might not even realize they are being controlled. Manipulative individuals will frequently play the victim, making it seem like they are always suffering or in need of help. They create an environment where you feel guilty if you don't act in a way that benefits them. This is particularly common in close relationships, where emotions are deeply intertwined. In the book The Sociopath Next Door by Martha Stout, she discusses how sociopaths, who often employ manipulative tactics, rely heavily on guilt as a primary tool. The most reliable sign, the most universal behavior of unscrupulous people, is not directed, as you might imagine, at our fearfulness. It is, perversely, an appeal to our sympathy. When you constantly find yourself walking on eggshells around someone or feeling guilty for not meeting their expectations, you may be dealing with an emotional manipulator. These individuals use emotions as weapons to dominate others and maintain control, often disguising their actions as care or concern. They might say, "I only want what's best for you," but their actions reveal that they are primarily concerned with their own gain. 2. Gaslighting, twisting your perception of reality. Gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation. It involves deliberately making someone doubt their reality, memories, or perception. The term originated from the 1944 film Gaslight, where a man manipulates his wife into thinking she is going insane by subtly altering her environment and denying it when she notices changes. In the context of manipulative relationships, gaslighting can be highly damaging. Manipulators who use this technique often convince their victims that they are too sensitive or that they are imagining things. This creates a power dynamic where the manipulator has control over the victim's reality, leading the victim to question their judgment and become more reliant on the manipulator for guidance. In The Gaslight Effect by Robin Stern, she explains, "You're not crazy, someone's making you think you are." Gaslighting happens when you're made to believe you are wrong, irrational, or insane for something you know is true. Gaslighters are often charming and persuasive, making their victims feel confused and isolated. They might lie about events, deny conversations ever took place, or contradict themselves in ways that make you question your memory. Over time, gaslighting can erode a person's self-esteem and make them feel dependent on the manipulator for validation. If you often find yourself second-guessing your recollection of events or feeling confused after interactions with a particular person, you may be experiencing gaslighting. It is essential to trust your instincts and remember that manipulation often thrives on sowing doubt. 3. Projection, blaming others for their own actions. Another tactic manipulators use is projection, where they accuse others of behaviors or feelings that they themselves are guilty of. This deflection allows them to avoid accountability while shifting the focus onto someone else. For instance, a manipulator who is dishonest may accuse you of lying, or someone who is controlling may claim that you are the one being manipulative. In the book In Sheep's Clothing, Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People by George K. Simon, he explains, projection is a defense mechanism many manipulators use to maintain the appearance of control. By projecting their own flaws onto others, they not only avoid responsibility but also gain an upper hand in arguments by putting the other person on the defensive. Projection can create confusion and frustration, especially when you know the accusations are baseless. Manipulative individuals rely on this tactic because it diverts attention from their own actions and weakens the confidence of the person they are targeting. When faced with projection, it's important to remain calm and focus on the facts, rather than becoming defensive or emotional. 4. Withholding information, keeping you in the dark. Manipulators frequently withhold critical information or provide incomplete details to control the narrative. By selectively sharing information, they can manipulate how you perceive a situation, giving them the upper hand. Withholding creates a power imbalance, where the manipulator has knowledge and control, and the victim is left guessing or making decisions based on limited facts. This tactic can be particularly prevalent in professional settings, where a manipulative colleague or superior may withhold crucial information to sabotage your work or manipulate the outcome of a project. In relationships, withholding can manifest as being secretive or evasive, creating an environment of uncertainty. Dr. George Simon elaborates on this tactic in Sheep's Clothing, explaining that manipulators often control others not by what they do say, but by what they don't. By omitting key information, they can shape outcomes and perceptions without ever being directly confrontational. When someone consistently keeps you in the dark or evades giving you full explanations, this is a red flag for manipulation. Open communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and someone who withholds information is likely trying to maintain power over you. 5. Triangulation, using others to manipulate. Triangulation is a tactic where a manipulator involves a third party to create tension, jealousy, or competition. This often occurs in relationships where the manipulator pits two people against each other to maintain control or divide their loyalties. By involving another person, the manipulator can create confusion, insecurity, and rivalry, all of which serve to keep you off balance. For example, in a work setting, a manipulative boss might praise one employee in front of another to foster competition, making both employees more eager to please the boss. In personal relationships, manipulators might bring up a former partner to make you feel insecure or jealous, manipulating your emotions to gain control. Triangulation is a powerful tool because it not only manipulates you but also manipulates the people around you. It causes divisions and insecurities that can weaken your position while strengthening the manipulator's control. In The Art of Manipulation by R.B. Sparkman, it is noted that, by manipulating relationships and playing people against each other, the manipulator can control not just one, but multiple people, all without being directly involved in any conflict. If you notice someone frequently comparing you to others or involving third parties in personal or professional matters unnecessarily, this may be a sign that they are using triangulation to manipulate you. 6. Flattery and love bombing, excessive praise to lower defenses. While manipulation often involves negative tactics, it can also come in the form of excessive praise or affection, a tactic known as love bombing. Manipulators may use flattery or shower you with compliments and attention to lower your defenses, making you more susceptible to their influence. Love bombing can create a false sense of security, where the victim believes the manipulator genuinely cares for them, only to be exploited later. In the book The Human Magnet Syndrome by Ross Rosenberg, he describes love bombing as a tactic used by narcissists and sociopaths to gain the trust and loyalty of their victims. Love bombing is like a fast-acting drug that causes the victim to feel euphoric and trusting, only to later find out they've been trapped in a cycle of manipulation and deceit. This tactic is often used early in relationships, whether romantic, professional, or platonic, to quickly establish control. The manipulator overwhelms their target with affection or praise, creating a bond that can be difficult to break. Once trust is established, the manipulator may begin to introduce more controlling or harmful behaviors, confident that the victim will be too emotionally invested to resist. If someone's praise or affection seems excessive or too good to be true, it's important to take a step back and evaluate whether their intentions are genuine. Love bombing is a red flag for manipulation, especially if it occurs early in a relationship or is followed by attempts to control or exploit you. 7. Passive aggression, indirect hostility. Passive-aggressive behavior is a hallmark of many manipulative individuals. Rather than expressing their dissatisfaction or anger directly, manipulators will use indirect methods to convey their hostility. This can take the form of sarcasm, backhanded compliments, silent treatment, or subtle digs at your character. Passive-aggressive behavior allows the manipulator to avoid direct confrontation while still maintaining control over the situation. In When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith, passive aggression is described as a form of covert manipulation. Passive aggressiveness is a way of expressing hostility or displeasure while maintaining a facade of compliance. It's a way for manipulators to have their cake and eat it too. They can deny any wrongdoing while still exerting control. If you often find yourself confused by someone's behavior or feel like you're being subtly insulted or criticized, this may be a sign of passive-aggressive manipulation. Confronting passive-aggressive behavior can be challenging, as the manipulator will often deny any ill intent, but recognizing this pattern is the first step in addressing it. 8. Overstepping boundaries, pushing limits. Manipulative individuals often test the boundaries of their victims, gradually pushing limits to see how much they can get away with. This behavior can manifest in various ways, from invading personal space to making unreasonable demands on your time, energy, or resources. Manipulators thrive on the erosion of boundaries because it gives them more control over their victims. In Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend, the authors emphasize the importance of setting and maintaining clear boundaries in relationships to protect oneself from manipulation. Manipulative people don't respect boundaries. They see them as challenges to be overcome. It's up to you to enforce your limits, or they will be gradually eroded until you no longer feel in control of your own life. A key sign that someone is overstepping your boundaries is when you feel uncomfortable or violated, but they dismiss your concerns or continue the behavior despite your protests. Manipulative individuals may frame their overstepping as harmless or just joking, but this is often a tactic to minimize your discomfort and maintain control. Conclusion: recognizing manipulation requires keen observation and a willingness to trust your instincts. While manipulative tactics can be subtle and difficult to detect, the signs outlined in this essay provide a foundation for identifying manipulative individuals. Whether they use emotional manipulation, gaslighting, projection, or passive aggression, manipulators thrive on control and deception. By understanding their tactics and learning to recognize the red flags, you can protect yourself from their influence and maintain control over your own life. As Martha Stout notes in The Sociopath Next Door, when you see the warning signs, don't wait for more evidence. Trust your gut, set your boundaries, and remove yourself from the manipulator's control before they can do more harm. Understanding the psychology of manipulation is the first step toward reclaiming your power and ensuring that you are not a victim of someone else's agenda. Do you benefit from my content? Please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. This supports me and encourages me to publish great content for you. Idea number 2, strategies to avoid mind manipulation. Manipulation, particularly of the mind, is a pervasive form of control that many individuals face in personal relationships, work environments, and societal interactions. While identifying manipulative behaviors is a crucial first step, equipping oneself with strategies to avoid falling victim to these tactics is equally essential. Manipulators thrive when their victims are unaware or unsure of how to defend themselves. This essay outlines various strategies for avoiding mind manipulation, providing a comprehensive guide to maintaining autonomy in the face of manipulation. 1. Develop emotional intelligence, understand and regulate your emotions. A critical component of resisting manipulation is the ability to understand and regulate your emotions. Manipulators often target emotional vulnerabilities, using them to control their victims. By developing emotional intelligence, you become more aware of how your emotions influence your decision-making process and how others might exploit these feelings. In Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ by Daniel Goleman, he states, people with high emotional intelligence are adept at managing their feelings in a way that helps them face life's challenges without being overwhelmed. One way to enhance emotional intelligence is through mindfulness practices, such as meditation or journaling, which help you identify and process your emotions without immediately reacting. This emotional awareness creates a buffer against manipulative tactics like gaslighting or guilt-tripping, as you can assess situations objectively rather than through the haze of strong emotions. When you recognize that your emotions are being manipulated, take a step back to process them before responding. For example, if someone attempts to guilt you into a decision, identify the emotions they are trying to provoke, such as guilt or fear, and assess whether the situation genuinely warrants those feelings. By understanding your emotional triggers, you can resist being swayed by them. 2. Set clear boundaries and maintain them. Setting and enforcing clear boundaries is one of the most effective ways to avoid mind manipulation. Manipulators often push boundaries subtly, testing how much control they can exert over their victims. They rely on their target's discomfort with confrontation to continue eroding personal limits. In Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend, the authors explain, boundaries are not something that manipulators respect automatically, they must be enforced consistently, or they will be ignored or pushed. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, or intellectual. For example, in relationships, you might set boundaries regarding how much personal information you're willing to share or how you expect to be treated. In professional settings, boundaries may involve defining the scope of your responsibilities or refusing to take on tasks outside of your job description. When someone tries to overstep these boundaries, it is essential to remain firm and assertive. Do not feel compelled to justify or explain your boundaries excessively, simply stating, "I am not comfortable with that," is sufficient. By doing so, you communicate that you are in control of your personal space and decisions, making it harder for manipulators to influence you. 3. Enhance critical thinking and question everything. Manipulators often use deception, half-truths, and misinformation to control others. They rely on their victims' lack of critical thinking to make their manipulations more effective. Therefore, one of the best defenses against manipulation is the ability to think critically and question everything. In The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli, he emphasizes the importance of skepticism. Don't accept things at face value, especially if someone has a vested interest in influencing your opinion. Question their motives, consider alternative perspectives, and seek out evidence before making decisions. To develop critical thinking skills, practice analyzing situations from multiple angles and challenge your assumptions. When someone presents you with information, ask yourself the following. What is their motivation for telling me this? Are they providing all the facts, or are they leaving out crucial details? Could there be another explanation or perspective I'm not considering? Additionally, make it a habit to fact-check information before accepting it as truth. Manipulators often use exaggerations or distortions to sway opinions, but with critical thinking and research, you can expose these tactics and avoid being manipulated. 4. Practice assertive communication. Being assertive in communication means expressing your thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and directly, without being aggressive or passive. Manipulators often target individuals who struggle with assertiveness because these people are less likely to resist manipulative tactics. Learning to communicate assertively helps you stand your ground without being drawn into manipulative power dynamics. In When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith, he discusses the importance of assertiveness in resisting manipulation. Assertiveness is about standing up for your rights without infringing on the rights of others. It's the balance between passivity and aggression, and it's key to not being manipulated. When confronted with a manipulative situation, practice using "I" statements to express your feelings and establish boundaries. For example, I feel uncomfortable when you pressure me into making decisions quickly. I need time to think this over before I can commit to anything. I understand your perspective, but I need to do what's best for me. By communicating assertively, you make it clear that you are aware of the manipulative behavior and that you are not willing to be swayed. This approach also shifts the dynamic away from the manipulator's control, as they can no longer rely on passive responses to maintain power. 5. Avoid playing into the manipulator's game. Do not engage in their tactics. Manipulators thrive on drawing others into their games, whether it's creating confusion, sowing doubt, or instigating conflict. The best way to avoid manipulation is to refuse to participate in these games altogether. This means recognizing manipulative tactics when they occur and not engaging with them. In The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, he writes about the dangers of getting caught up in someone else's drama. Play the game by your own rules. If you let others dictate the terms of the interaction, you will always be at a disadvantage. For example, if someone tries to provoke an emotional response from you through insults or accusations, remain calm and refuse to engage. Responding to manipulative behavior often plays into the manipulator's hands, as they feed off the emotional reactions they provoke. Instead, acknowledge their tactics, but do not give them the satisfaction of seeing you upset. When manipulators attempt to create confusion or doubt through gaslighting or other means, trust your instincts and refuse to let them alter your reality. Stick to the facts and do not allow the manipulator to change the narrative. 6. Strengthen your sense of self-worth. Manipulators often target individuals who struggle with low self-esteem, as these individuals are more likely to seek validation from others and are less likely to resist manipulation. Strengthening your sense of self-worth and building self-confidence can significantly reduce your vulnerability to manipulation. In The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden, he discusses the importance of self-worth in protecting oneself from manipulation. People who have a strong sense of self-esteem are less likely to be swayed by the opinions or manipulations of others. They understand their value and are less reliant on external validation. One way to build self-esteem is by setting and achieving personal goals. Each accomplishment, no matter how small, reinforces your sense of competence and self-worth. Additionally, practicing self-compassion and positive self-talk can help you develop a healthier relationship with yourself, making it harder for manipulators to undermine your confidence. When you value yourself, you are less likely to tolerate disrespectful or manipulative behavior from others. You recognize your right to be treated with respect and are more willing to enforce boundaries to protect your well-being. 7. Recognize and avoid manipulative individuals early on. Prevention is the best defense against manipulation, and this means learning to recognize manipulative individuals early in your interactions with them. Manipulators often exhibit telltale signs, such as excessive flattery, boundary pushing, or inconsistencies in their behavior. Being aware of these signs can help you avoid falling into manipulative relationships altogether. In Dangerous Personalities by Joe Navarro, the author highlights the importance of identifying manipulative personalities early. People with manipulative traits will reveal themselves through subtle actions and words. If you know what to look for, you can avoid entangling yourself with them before the damage is done. When meeting new people, pay attention to the following behaviors. Charm and flattery. Manipulators often use excessive charm to lower your defenses and gain your trust quickly. Lack of accountability. Manipulative people rarely take responsibility for their actions and often shift blame onto others. Boundary pushing. If someone consistently ignores your boundaries or makes you feel uncomfortable, this is a red flag for manipulation. Inconsistent behavior. Manipulators may act differently depending on the situation or the people involved, revealing their true intentions over time. By recognizing these signs, you can distance yourself from manipulative individuals before they have the chance to influence you. Trust your instincts and do not ignore red flags, even if the manipulator initially seems charming or harmless. 8. Cultivate strong, supportive relationships. Manipulators often isolate their victims from supportive networks, making them more vulnerable to control. Cultivating strong, healthy relationships with friends, family, and colleagues can provide a buffer against manipulation, as these individuals can offer perspective and support when you're faced with manipulative behavior. In Hold Me Tight by Dr. Sue Johnson, she emphasizes the importance of secure relationships in emotional well-being. When we have strong, supportive connections, we are less likely to be swayed by the manipulative tactics of others. Our secure relationships provide a foundation of trust and validation that makes it harder for manipulators to exploit our vulnerabilities. If you suspect that someone is attempting to manipulate you, discuss the situation with trusted individuals. They can offer an outside perspective and help you identify manipulative behaviors that you might not have noticed. Additionally, these relationships serve as a reminder that you do not need to rely on the manipulator for validation or support. Conclusion. Avoiding mind manipulation requires a combination of emotional intelligence, assertiveness, critical thinking, and boundary setting. By developing these skills and strategies, you can protect yourself from the influence of manipulative individuals and maintain control over your own decisions and actions. As Robert Greene states in The 48 Laws of Power, to win the game of life, you must learn to protect yourself from those who would manipulate and deceive you. Only by mastering the art of resistance can you stay true to yourself and your goals. Understanding and implementing these strategies ensures that you maintain autonomy in your relationships and interactions, making it difficult for manipulators to exert their influence over you. Are you enjoying here? Please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. This supports me and encourages me to publish great content for you. Idea number 3. How to confront manipulators and handle manipulation in different environments. Manipulators are everywhere, in personal relationships, the workplace, and even within social circles. Recognizing manipulative tactics is crucial, but what's equally important is knowing how to confront and manage these individuals in various environments. This essay delves into effective strategies for confronting manipulators and handling manipulation in diverse settings, including personal relationships, the workplace, and broader social interactions. Drawing from psychological insights and practical approaches discussed in notable books, this piece equips you with the tools necessary to take control and neutralize manipulative behavior. 1. Understanding manipulative behavior, the first step to confrontation. Before you can confront a manipulator, it's essential to understand their tactics and what motivates them. Manipulators use various strategies to control others, including emotional blackmail, gaslighting, and guilt-tripping. According to Harriet Breaker in Who's Pulling Your Strings, manipulators are driven by a need for power and control. They exploit their target's vulnerabilities to gain the upper hand. Recognizing that manipulation stems from a deep desire for control allows you to approach the situation with clarity. Instead of taking manipulative behavior personally, you can depersonalize the interaction and view it as a power play rather than an emotional attack. This mindset is crucial because it prevents you from being emotionally reactive, which is precisely what manipulators aim for. When confronting a manipulator, it's essential to maintain composure. Reacting emotionally often plays into their hands, giving them the upper hand in the interaction. Stay calm, and remind yourself that their behavior is a reflection of their desire for control, not a judgment on your character. 2. Effective confrontation strategies. Once you understand the manipulator's motivations, you can begin crafting strategies to confront them. Confrontation doesn't always mean aggressive or hostile behavior, it's about setting boundaries, staying assertive, and communicating clearly. In the Assertiveness Workbook by Randy J. Patterson, the author discusses the importance of using assertive communication when confronting manipulative individuals. Assertiveness allows you to express your needs and defend your boundaries without being aggressive or passive. It's the middle ground between passivity and hostility. When confronting manipulators, consider the following strategies. Use clear and direct language, avoid ambiguous statements. Manipulators often thrive on unclear boundaries, so be firm and concise when expressing your thoughts. For instance, instead of saying, "I'm not sure if this is fair," say, "I do not agree with this, and I won't tolerate it." Stay focused on facts. Manipulators may try to twist the conversation to confuse or disorient you. Stay focused on the facts of the situation and avoid getting drawn into emotional or circular arguments. Use "I" statements. When confronting someone, use "I" statements to avoid sounding accusatory while still expressing your feelings. For example, "I feel uncomfortable when I'm pressured into making decisions without time to think," is more effective than, "You always manipulate me into decisions." Refuse to engage in their tactics. Manipulators may try to provoke an emotional response from you or shift blame to make you feel guilty. Refuse to engage in these tactics by staying calm and not responding emotionally. By applying these strategies, you can confront manipulative behavior without escalating the situation into a conflict. It's about maintaining control over the conversation and making it clear that you are aware of their tactics. 3. Handling manipulation in personal relationships. Personal relationships, particularly those involving close friends, family members, or romantic partners, are often breeding grounds for manipulation. These relationships are emotionally charged, which can make it challenging to confront manipulative behavior without damaging the relationship. In The Verbally Abusive Relationship by Patricia Evans, she explains, manipulation often hides behind the guise of affection, concern, or care in personal relationships, making it more difficult to recognize. But once identified, it's crucial to address it to maintain emotional health. Here's how to handle manipulation in personal relationships. Recognize emotional blackmail. Manipulators in personal relationships often use emotional blackmail, making you feel guilty for setting boundaries or saying no. Recognize when someone is using your emotions against you and refuse to allow guilt to control your decisions. For example, if a partner says, "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me," respond by reaffirming your boundaries. "I care about you, but that doesn't change my decision." Establish non-negotiable boundaries. In close relationships, it's essential to set clear, non-negotiable boundaries. This can include how you expect to be treated or how much emotional labor you're willing to take on. Communicate these boundaries clearly, and if the manipulator continues to push them, it may be necessary to reconsider the relationship's future. Refuse to be isolated. Manipulators often isolate their victims from other sources of support, making them more dependent. If you feel someone is trying to isolate you, maintain connections with friends, family, or even support groups. A strong support system helps you gain perspective on the situation and offers emotional strength to resist manipulation. In family settings, manipulation can be even more challenging due to long-standing dynamics. In Toxic Parents by Susan Forward, she advises, when dealing with manipulative family members, it's essential to create emotional distance while maintaining boundaries. You may not be able to change their behavior, but you can control how much it affects you. 4. Confronting manipulation in the workplace. The workplace is another environment where manipulation thrives. Colleagues, managers, or even subordinates may use manipulation to gain power, control resources, or advance their careers at your expense. Workplace manipulation often takes subtler forms, such as undermining, passive-aggressive behavior, or favoritism. In Snakes in Suits, When Psychopaths Go to Work by Paul Babiek and Robert Hare, the authors explore how manipulative individuals, including corporate psychopaths, exploit workplace dynamics. These individuals often charm their way into positions of power, then use subtle manipulation to maintain control and influence. To confront manipulation in the workplace. Document everything. If you suspect someone is manipulating you or others in the workplace, begin documenting their behavior. Keep emails, notes from meetings, or any other form of written communication that shows evidence of their manipulation. Having a factual record will help you confront the manipulator more effectively or present your case to higher-ups if needed. Address the behavior, not the person. When confronting a manipulator in the workplace, focus on their behavior rather than attacking their character. For example, instead of saying, "You're manipulative," say, "I've noticed that you often provide incomplete information, which makes it difficult for me to make informed decisions. I need full transparency moving forward." Seek allies. Manipulators often isolate their targets to weaken their position. Build strong professional relationships with colleagues who can offer support and help you see through manipulative tactics. Having a network of allies makes it harder for the manipulator to undermine you. Escalate when necessary. If direct confrontation doesn't resolve the issue, escalate it to a supervisor or HR. In Difficult Conversations, How to Discuss What Matters Most by Douglas Stone, Bruce Patton, and Sheila Heen, the authors note, in professional settings, when manipulation or conflict cannot be resolved between the parties involved, it's crucial to seek formal channels to address the issue. By staying professional, documenting manipulation, and seeking support, you can effectively confront and neutralize workplace manipulators without jeopardizing your career. 5. Handling manipulation in social and group settings. Manipulation isn't confined to personal or professional relationships, it can also manifest in social or group settings, such as friend groups, community organizations, or even online communities. Group dynamics often amplify manipulation because people are more likely to conform to social pressure. In Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini, he explores how social proof and authority can be used to manipulate groups. When individuals are uncertain, they tend to look to others for cues on how to behave, making them more susceptible to manipulation by those who appear confident or authoritative. To handle manipulation in social settings. Be aware of social pressure. Manipulators in group settings often use peer pressure to control others, making you feel obligated to conform. For example, in a social group, a manipulator might say, "Everyone else agrees with me, so why don't you?" Recognize when you're being pressured into a decision and evaluate whether it aligns with your values, rather than giving in to groupthink. Create personal space in groups. Manipulators thrive on attention and validation from the group. If you feel pressured by a manipulative group member, create some distance to regain perspective. This can mean taking time away from the group or simply not engaging with the manipulator's tactics. Challenge manipulative group leaders. In groups, manipulative individuals often position themselves as leaders to control others. Challenge these leaders respectfully by asking questions and encouraging others to speak up. For example, if someone is dominating a conversation or decision-making process, ask, "Has anyone else considered alternative options?" This redirects attention and prevents the manipulator from maintaining total control. Encourage open communication. In group settings, manipulators often rely on secrecy or controlling information to maintain power. Encourage open communication and transparency within the group to neutralize manipulation. When everyone has access to the same information, it becomes harder for manipulators to twist the narrative. 6. Using mindfulness and self-awareness as defenses against manipulation. One of the most effective ways to confront manipulators and handle manipulation in various environments is through mindfulness and self-awareness. By staying grounded in your own values, emotions, and thoughts, you become less susceptible to manipulation. As Eckhart Tolle writes in The Power of Now, when you are present and fully conscious, no one can manipulate you. You are too aware of your own inner space to be taken in by others' false representations. Mindfulness practices such as meditation, deep breathing, and self-reflection can help you stay centered when dealing with manipulative individuals. By cultivating emotional intelligence, you can recognize when you're being manipulated and respond in a way that preserves your autonomy and well-being. Conclusion. Confronting manipulators and handling manipulation across different environments requires a combination of assertiveness, self-awareness, and strategic communication. Whether you're dealing with manipulative partners, colleagues, or social group leaders, the key is to maintain control over your emotions, set clear boundaries, and refuse to be drawn into their power games. As various authors, from Robert Greene to Eckhart Tolle, have emphasized, the ability to protect yourself from manipulation is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and preserving your sense of self. Are you still here? If you like the content, please click the like button. It's free now. Idea number 4, how to heal from the harmful effects of manipulators. Manipulative relationships, whether in personal life or professional environments, often leave deep emotional scars that can impact your mental health, self-esteem, and overall well-being. Once you've identified and confronted manipulative individuals, the journey doesn't end there. The next and arguably most important step is healing from the harm they've caused. Recovering from manipulation requires emotional work, self-reflection, and reclaiming your sense of identity and power. This essay explores the process of healing from the harmful effects of manipulators, drawing on insights from psychological literature and self-help books. 1. Recognizing the damage manipulation causes. The first step in healing from manipulation is to fully acknowledge the damage it has caused. Manipulation can erode self-confidence, create confusion, and leave you questioning your own worth and abilities. In Healing from Hidden Abuse, A Journey Through the Stages of Recovery from Psychological Abuse, Shannon Thomas explains that psychological manipulation is insidious because it often occurs subtly over time, leading to cumulative emotional harm. She states, victims of manipulation frequently struggle to see the extent of the abuse until they are deeply entangled, making it harder to break free and recover. Manipulators use tactics such as gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and emotional blackmail to break down their victim's sense of reality. You may find yourself doubting your own feelings, decisions, or even sanity after prolonged exposure to a manipulator. Therefore, the first step in healing is recognizing that the damage you've suffered is real and valid. One common issue for survivors of manipulation is the difficulty in identifying that they've been victimized. Manipulation is often cloaked in seemingly benign behavior, such as concern, affection, or even leadership in the case of workplace manipulators. Acknowledging that you were manipulated is not a sign of weakness, it's a necessary step in the healing process. The more you understand the mechanisms of manipulation, the more empowered you become to heal from its effects. 2. Rebuilding self-esteem and trust in yourself. Manipulators often target their victims' sense of self-worth. By undermining your confidence, they gain control over your thoughts and actions. Therefore, a critical aspect of recovery involves rebuilding self-esteem and restoring trust in your own judgment. In The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, she emphasizes the importance of self-compassion in this process, owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. Healing from manipulation requires that you be kind to yourself. Understand that falling victim to a manipulator does not reflect your intelligence or strength, it reflects the manipulator's skills in deception. As you move forward, it's essential to focus on rebuilding your self-image in a positive light. This can be achieved through self-affirmation, seeking out healthy relationships, and setting small, achievable goals that help you regain confidence in your abilities. Affirming your value, practice daily affirmations that reinforce your worth and capabilities. Positive self-talk can help shift the negative beliefs instilled by manipulators. Rewriting your narrative, many people who have experienced manipulation struggle with shame and guilt. Part of the healing process is to rewrite your narrative by reframing your experience. Instead of viewing yourself as a victim, view yourself as a survivor who has gained strength from adversity. Trusting yourself again is also an essential part of recovery. Manipulators often erode your ability to make decisions by constantly second-guessing you or causing you to doubt your own instincts. Begin by making small decisions independently and reflecting on how you feel about them. As you rebuild trust in yourself, you'll regain the confidence to make larger decisions without relying on others for validation. 3. Setting and maintaining boundaries. One of the long-term effects of manipulation is the weakening of personal boundaries. Manipulators exploit porous or non-existent boundaries to control their victims. To heal from the harm caused by manipulation, it's crucial to re-establish firm boundaries and maintain them moving forward. In Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend, they emphasize that boundaries are essential for protecting your emotional well-being. Boundaries define what is me and what is not me. A lack of boundaries can lead to a loss of personal freedom and emotional health. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've become accustomed to letting others dictate your actions or emotions. However, re-establishing boundaries is an empowering step that helps you regain control over your life. Here are some ways to set and maintain healthy boundaries during the healing process. Identify what you will no longer tolerate, reflect on the behaviors or situations that caused harm in the past. Make a list of what you will no longer accept in your relationships, such as manipulation, gaslighting, or emotional blackmail. Communicate your boundaries clearly. Once you've established your boundaries, communicate them clearly to others. You don't owe anyone lengthy explanations, be firm and concise. For example, if someone tries to manipulate you into doing something, a simple, "I'm not comfortable with that, and I won't participate," is enough. Practice saying no. People who've experienced manipulation often struggle with saying no. Practice this skill regularly to reinforce your boundaries. Remember, you don't have to justify your decisions to anyone. Maintaining boundaries may require distancing yourself from individuals who don't respect them. This can be difficult, especially in close relationships, but it's necessary for your emotional health. Boundaries protect you from future manipulation and ensure that you prioritize your well-being. 4. Seeking support from healthy relationships. Healing from manipulation is often a long and challenging journey, and it's crucial to seek support from healthy, non-manipulative relationships during the process. Manipulation thrives in isolation, so rebuilding a strong support network is essential for recovery. Surrounding yourself with friends, family members, or colleagues who respect your boundaries and offer genuine support can help accelerate the healing process. In Codependent No More by Melody Beattie, she discusses the importance of seeking out healthy connections as part of recovery. One of the most important parts of healing from manipulation is learning to differentiate between relationships that drain you and those that nurture you. Reconnect with trusted friends and family. If you've distanced yourself from certain people due to the manipulator's influence, take steps to reconnect with trusted friends and family. These individuals can offer a safe space for you to express your feelings, gain perspective, and rebuild your sense of trust in others. Join a support group. If you find it difficult to talk about your experiences with people in your immediate circle, consider joining a support group. Many people who've experienced manipulation benefit from the shared experiences and emotional validation that support groups provide. Seek professional help. Therapy is an invaluable tool for healing from manipulation. A therapist can help you process the trauma, rebuild your self-esteem, and develop coping strategies for dealing with emotional triggers related to past manipulation. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is particularly effective in helping individuals change negative thought patterns that were reinforced by manipulators. 5. Healing through self-care and emotional release. Self-care plays a pivotal role in healing from the emotional wounds caused by manipulators. Manipulation often leaves victims feeling emotionally drained, anxious, and unsure of themselves. Therefore, incorporating self-care routines that nurture both your physical and emotional well-being is vital for recovery. In The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, he explains how trauma, including emotional manipulation, is stored in the body. The body holds on to traumatic experiences, and emotional healing requires attention to both the mind and the body. Physical self-care, regular exercise, healthy eating, and adequate sleep can help repair the physical toll that manipulation takes on your body. Physical activity, in particular, has been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, helping you feel more grounded and empowered. Journaling. Journaling is a powerful tool for processing emotions and gaining insight into your experiences. By putting your thoughts on paper, you can begin to make sense of the manipulation you experienced and explore your feelings in a non-judgmental space. Meditation and mindfulness. Meditation and mindfulness practices can help you stay present and calm, reducing the lingering effects of stress caused by manipulation. Techniques like deep breathing and progressive muscle relaxation can also alleviate anxiety and tension. Emotional release. Manipulation often leads to repressed emotions, such as anger, sadness, or fear. It's essential to find healthy outlets for these emotions. This could be through talking with a therapist, engaging in creative expression, or even participating in physical activities that allow you to release pent-up feelings. 6. Forgiving yourself and moving forward. A key element of healing from manipulation is forgiving yourself. Many people who have been manipulated struggle with feelings of shame, guilt, or regret, questioning why they didn't see the manipulation sooner or why they allowed it to continue. It's important to let go of these self-blaming thoughts and understand that manipulation is not your fault. In Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping, he emphasizes the transformative power of self-forgiveness. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the prison of guilt and shame. It's about releasing the hold the past has on you. Self-forgiveness is a powerful act of liberation. It allows you to move forward without the emotional baggage of the past. To forgive yourself. Acknowledge your humanity, recognize that everyone is vulnerable to manipulation at some point in their lives. Manipulators are often highly skilled at what they do, and being manipulated is not a reflection of your intelligence or worth. Accept your emotions, allow yourself to feel whatever emotions arise, anger, sadness, confusion, without judgment. It's a natural part of the healing process, and accepting your feelings is crucial to moving forward. Reflect on lessons learned. While the experience was painful, it can also serve as a valuable lesson. Consider what you've learned about yourself, relationships, and your boundaries. This reflection can help you develop a stronger sense of self-awareness and resilience moving forward. Focus on personal growth. Shift your focus from the past to your future. Set new goals, engage in new hobbies, or explore interests you may have neglected during your time of manipulation. This will help you to re-establish your identity outside of the manipulative relationship and promote personal growth. Conclusion. Healing from the effects of manipulation is a multifaceted process that involves recognizing the damage done, rebuilding self-esteem, setting boundaries, seeking support, and practicing self-care. While the journey may be long and filled with challenges, it is also a path toward empowerment and reclaiming your life. As you learn to trust yourself again, establish healthy relationships, and nurture your emotional well-being, you will find that the scars of manipulation can transform into sources of strength. In the words of Rumi, the wound is the place where the light enters you. This process is about finding that light again, illuminating the path to a healthier, more fulfilled version of yourself. By investing in your recovery, you not only protect yourself from future manipulation but also open the door to authentic connections and a richer, more meaningful life. Here we have finished our episode in which we discussed how to recognize manipulative people easily, strategies to avoid mind manipulation, how to confront manipulators and handle manipulation in different environments, and how to heal from the harmful effects of manipulators. We hope you liked it. If you liked the books, you can get it by clicking on the link in the video description. Write in the comments the name of the book you want us to review. If you liked the content of the episode, please click the like button, and subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive the content when it is uploaded. I wish you a good time. Goodbye.